I remember sitting there thinking to myself, why does everyone look so sad? And mind you, this was right after the 2008 crash. It wasn't a surprise that people would probably be a little bit disappointed, but every person that walked in that door came out looking dejected, looking like they've been reprimanded. It's bonus season. It's the time where you get to sit down with your boss, get a little bit of performance review. They hand you a number that says, this is how much extra money you're going to make this month. Now, I worked for an investment bank and the minimum bonus was 10%. And that's for cost center employees. See, you're a cost center employee if you work, but your work does not bring in revenue. It only supports revenue generating work. So I was a developer, which means I was in the cost center, and even my bonus was 10% at a minimum. And in good years, it was better than that. This was not a good year. The funny thing was, as I walk into my boss's office and I sit down with her and she tells me, hey, listen, your bonus is not going to go up this year. Your salary, you're not going to get a salary increase this year. Now, what kind of problems do you have when someone tells you, I'm going to pay you the same amount of money I paid you last year, which, you could be disappointed with, but can you be upset about? Maybe, maybe not. But not only that, I'm not going to not give you a bonus. I'm just not going to increase your bonus. And I thought to myself, hell no. I'm not special, but I know I'm worth more than this. So I remember leaving that office, and the metaphor that comes to mind is that I'm a pig at a trough. We all are. We're just cogs in a wheel. We're all eating the slops left over from the profit the company makes. Let me put it in perspective. I worked on a billion-dollar project that was supposed to improve the way some of the traders delivered their product to their customers. And when I tell you, after billions of dollars of investment, tons of hours of software coding and QAing and testing with users, that company decided to not even release it. That's how much money you got. When you can put billions of dollars in something and just scrap it. Now, it was probably the right decision. I don't know. I left before it was ever scrapped or released. But at the end of the day, I knew at that point I wasn't doing something that satisfied my soul. And so I had to leave. And that's what I did. I left. And I left with a ton of ideas and a lot of passion and a 401k that I could borrow from. And guess what I did with all of that? Nothing. Well, that's not true. I didn't do nothing with it. I spent the 401k. I got burnt out on the ideas and I lost a little bit of the passion. So was it worth it? Absolutely. I've not worked for corporate America since. Now, you could say my current job, I work for a corporation, but I'm still a 1099 employee. I still run my own business. It is my practice. It is what I love to do. It is not for a check. It is for the difference I make in people's lives. So I started out working for Deutsche Bank and I was at one rung on the wealth ladder. And I dropped down to the rung below. And that's the broke rung. I was broke for a long time. When I tell you broke, I mean I was eating $5 Little Caesars pizza regularly. Little Caesars pizza, Arizona iced tea. What else did I buy on a regular basis? Oh, I loved me some Utz chips. Salt and pepper Utz chips. UTZ. It was delicious. Look it up if you've never heard of it before. During that time frame, I tried a lot of stuff. I sold hair. I did romantic relationship coaching. I built websites for people. I worked for a nonprofit that was helping other entrepreneurs. All of it was just me in search of myself, in search of my purpose, in search of my life's pursuit. And that, my friends, is why you want power over money. Because if you don't have a purpose, if you don't have a life's pursuit, then your pursuit will be the almighty dollar. You will chase money just to have money, as opposed to chasing money so that you can live freely to work. That's the difference. That's where I ended up in life, chasing dollars. And so when a friend of mine came to me and said, hey, I have this great idea and I want you to join me to help start this company, and we're going to raise millions of dollars, and then we're going to build a huge company, and then we're going to sell it for millions of dollars. all I could hear in the back of my head was millions, 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 millions. That's all I was worried about. I was still that young, impressionable boy who wanted to have a Porsche just so he could drive down the street in a Porsche. Not because I like to drive, not because I want a workhorse that has handling and extreme torque and has racing in its bones, and because I just love to drive a really good vehicle, but because I wanted someone else to see me in it. So I didn't have power over money because I didn't understand the purpose of money. I was chasing wealth for the wrong reasons. So I joined the company. Ultimately, I was running a company that had some level of viability. It could have succeeded had we pivoted a lot earlier, but by that point, we had burned through as a company millions of dollars in capital. Now, I got into it at a fairly successful point. I had secured a deal with every digital screen on ATMs in every 7-Eleven nationwide. I had exponentially grown the revenue of the company, and I did it with like 2 or 3 employees. Like, I was doing everything. I was the COO, the CTO, the CEO. I was doing it all. I had 1 developer and 1 sales guy on staff, and I had just had contractors and contracts with a whole lot of people. So I learned how to run lean and mean. I learned how to express the value of things. I learned how to pitch. I learned how to fundraise. I learned how to build relationships. But I was still in a different mindset. I still didn't have power over money. I was still chasing something that didn't match up to what I wanted in life. Ultimately, the pandemic closed down that shop for me. It was a digital out-of-home business, meaning I put ads on screens that were outside of the home in retail environment. What advertiser is going to advertise outside of the home when a pandemic has kept everyone inside the home? Perfect time to make a transition. Company closes up shop. I move on. I help my family business grow from 5 figures a month to 6 figures a month, which is 6 figures annually to 7 figures annually. Taking all that I learned about processes and hiring people, contracts. And while I was doing that, it dawned on me. I finally figured it out. I've made so many mistakes in my life at this point. I have chased the wrong things. I've pushed people away. I've made myself isolated. I've tried to be too much of a perfectionist. All of this stuff has stopped me from being me and being of service in the world, of taking my talents, my gifts, and my passions and giving it to other people so that it opens doors for myself. See, when you have power over money, you chase wealth for the right reasons. And when you chase wealth for the right reasons, it exponentially grows. It creates a snowball effect that even you can't control. You can't touch the way God moves. You can't move mountains the way God does. When you decide to line up your purpose in life, which is where your gifts and talents lie, and you match that with your calling. And for me, my calling is to follow Jesus Christ and to testify how he has changed who I am and how I have learned that it is not about me. It never was about me. I have to be a conduit as opposed to the controlling factor. I have to be a steward. And so after quitting my job, becoming an entrepreneur, failing, starting a tech startup, succeeding, and then failing, growing a family business, succeeding at that, starting a career in financial services, it finally aligning with who I am in a way that is so satisfying, so satisfying. I help people create their family banks. I help them put into place estate plans. I help them think about money in a way that gives them power over it, as opposed to it having power over them. I've talked to so many people that have this like fear of even just doing a budget, of even just understanding how much money comes in and how much money goes out. They spend every minute of their life chasing the dollar, and yet they don't even know how to quantify it. And so that's why I've created this channel, because I want to help people acquire power over money and to build wealth for the right reasons.